What's up? Episode 3. I'm still doing it. That's pretty cool. Episode 3 is with Mike Vanvliet, one of my comedy buddies. He's like one of those dudes I've never heard anybody say anything mean about him. He's a good dude. Like, he's just a good human being. He'll bite the shit out of you. He will. Like, he is like this terrier dog, like a Irish setter. No, what's the ones that have the long hair? The Afghans? No, because they're the dumbest dogs ever. And Mike's not dumb. He's pretty smart. Amazing intellect on that guy. He's like my dog Ramsey. He's like a half English bulldog, half pug. Like, he's the most snuggliest, adorable human being that if you hit the back of his kneecap, he'll bite the shit out of you. Or if you do something even more realistically, if you do something that hurts somebody that he cares about, or if he sees anybody getting wrong done to them, he'll bite you. He'll bite you right in the ass. And then snuggle with you. I loved having Mike. I knew a little bit of Mike's story. He's got a lot more sober time than I do. I don't know if I'll find anybody else with that much sober time. He'll talk about that. But this is a great catch-up session. He had some really good, deep thought processing on the way he looks at his sobriety and how much it means to him. I don't want any spoilers. It was fun. So, fucking Mike Vanvliet. Did your dad ever come see you perform?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Huge supporter.
Mine never did.
Really?
Neither one of my parents. I think they've been too scared of what I would say. Mm-hmm. And who knows if they'll ever even have the chance. Honestly, like, I was thinking about it the other day, and I miss it. It's who I am. Mm-hmm. It's been what I've been doing since 2012, mm-hmm. you know? But also, I'm 44. Do I really want to travel around for no money at 44 with 3 kids? Mm-mm. Like, I don't want to travel around for it. Do I still want to do it locally and still build the following that I at least would have had if I hadn't have stopped? Like, I would have to start over now. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with it. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you don't have the fight. If I'm not 100% fuck yeah on something, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I try not to.
Yeah.
Know?
See, I'm not 100% fuck yeah on doing stand-up anymore.
And I knew I wasn't. So it was like, I can't do this. I'm not committed to it.
Right. I went to one open mic downtown at Port City, and Marcinowski was hosting. It was so good to see him.
I love seeing him.
Like, I'd been out a year, and he gave me the biggest hug, and I was like, so what's going on, man? And then all I heard were these new comics complaining that had been doing it less than a year, complaining about not having their name on the flyer. And they were mad, dude. And they were like, yeah, well, you should tell that motherfucker. And I'm like, and then I made a comment. I was just like, how about you be so funny they have no choice but to put your name on the flyer? And then they blew me off. And I'm like, oh, yeah, these kids
Truth
don't
fucking
get
hurts,
it.
man. The truth hurts.
These kids don't get it.
No. And I see it at work, because the kids are always rushing to be first in line. And I keep yelling at them. I go, you guys know why you rush to be first in line? Because it's easier than working for it.
Yeah.
You guys always want the easiest thing, the low-hanging fruit. And we did it, same thing. Yeah. You know? But I want to work towards something. I don't want it easy. And that's why it's like with stand-up, it's like, if I did get back into it, it's like I have to start at the bottom. Yeah. I think it would almost be fun. I get to recreate myself.
See, that's the thing, too. Like, I scrapped all the material that I had when I started trying to go back. Like, I scrapped everything and started over, wrote like a new... It was probably about like 45 minutes. Now, how much of it probably worked? Probably about 10. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I still do it. I still write. But every Thursday, like, I stream inside my office. And I love that because I can just sit there. I don't have any customers barking at me. It'll be a range between like 1 or 0 and 50 viewers. Like, it's not anything crazy. Like, it's an extra like $60 every 3 months. But it's fun to me. It keeps me at home in case my family needs me. And
you're not carrying it around with
I'm
you
not carrying it
anymore.
around
It's therapy.
Yeah.
It's therapy that you're getting paid $20 a month for.
Yeah. Like that whole thing that we just talked about, like, and I don't want to put it all on here, but like it was traumatic, dude. Yeah. Like it was like I was depressed for like 6 to 8 months.
Oh, geez.
Like I had like up my therapy. But then like everything else, it went away because everything else started to happen. You know, like mom's diagnosis really took me out of it. I'm like, I'm taking the next year off, the rest of 2023 off. And it was like April to December. And then I went back in like February or March to that open mic. And then I didn't do well. And it was fine.
Of course not. We did. It's like riding a bike, man.
Yeah. Like I was good. Like I knew it, but it was like one of those things where every new comic in there was just like,
I bombed so bad at Dead Crow. Zach Burke was hosting, and I didn't even get to the end of my time yet, and he starts walking up. All right, let's get up. That's how bad I bombed. That's how bad I bombed. Zach Burke walking up the aisle, and I didn't even get the light yet. And he was like, okay, Mike. I'm like, dude, that's one of my buddies. Like, I'm bad. I'm doing bad right now. Oh, yeah.
When was the last time you had a drink? Like, do you remember the date?
Yeah, it was February 25th, 2011.
Damn, dude, you've got over 10 years.
Yeah, I just hit 13 this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, you know?
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, you did everything like on your own. You didn't really do the whole program or anything like that.
No, I went to, my dad quit a year before I did. And I had gone down to 1 or 2 meetings with him. Like, we were just sitting on the couch one day.
Yeah.
When I was down in Florida, and he'd go, you want to go to a meeting? I'm like, can I go? I drink. And he was like, yeah, I want you to go with me. And it was my dad's thing. We used to go drink a beer. But now he's showing me, I'm showing you what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to go with you, Dad, you know? Like, so we went. And then long story short, I quit. You know, I got my second DUI and I was like, time. So I called him. After I got my second DUI, I called my girlfriend at the time to come pick me up. And I said, I'm done drinking. Because she had a daughter at the time, 5 years. She was 5 when we started dating, so she was like 7.5. And I said, I've got to tell Stephanie that I can't drive her to Chuck E. Cheese, and we can't go to Myrtle Beach, and we're thinking about having a kid together. Like, this isn't the father and the man I want to be.
Yeah.
So I said, drive me home, get me a 24-ounce of Bud Light. It's going to be my last beer ever. She goes, I thought you said you were quit. I said, it's going to be my last one. Give me a break.
Right.
So I went home. I had that 24-ounce of beer sitting on the edge of my couch after getting out of jail that night, cried my eyes out, and I told myself, tomorrow I'm calling my parents, and I'm telling them, and I'm going to go to an AA meeting, and I'm going to stop. So the next day, I called my dad, crying, I'm going to quit. Okay, bud, anything you need, I'll bend over backwards for you. My mom said the same thing. So I went to an AA meeting at St. Mark's. Never forget it. Went over to St. Mark's, sat there in a room full of 80 people, listening to them.
Yeah.
Now, that was back in my drinking comedy days. I want to help everybody in there. I want to make them laugh.
Right.
I can't do that, man. I can't be here. I got to be here for me.
Yeah.
I can't be here for the 80 of y'all because now I see a crowd. I want to go be funny. This ain't funny. This live's falling apart here. And I go, you want to do this? AA works, but it's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how to do this. How are you going to do it without AA? Now, you can go to AA. It helps. I like going there and being around my people. I go to AA every once in a while now.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to go there and I'm going to listen to this girl talk. I'm going to listen to that guy talk, and I'm going to be thinking about them. What can I do to help them?
Right.
Michael, you're not in a position to help people right now. You can't even help yourself. You have no fucking clue what's going on.
Right.
You need to help yourself. And I said, okay. So I went home and I just locked myself in my room. I would come home from work, go into my room and not leave. And I would wake up the next day and I would not leave because I couldn't trust myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to just stay at home. And I had to move back in with my mom at the time because of DUI and the arrests and stuff. And I went through the TT so bad. I remember her I would wake up, go get a cup of coffee, and she'd go, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? She goes, you were screaming last night. And I'm like, when? She goes, in your sleep. And I go, no, it's probably just a nightmare. She goes, no, Michael. You were screaming.
Those were screams.
So loud that it woke me up. And I came to your room and I cracked the door open a little bit because I was worried about you. Or she not cracked it. I stood outside your door because I was worried about you. And I mean, we're peeling shirts off in the middle of the night, dude. I was peeling 3 shirts a night off going through the DTs.
It's dangerous to try to
I didn't know
detox
that.
yourself.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's what I did. I went home. I went to work and went home. And that's it for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, okay, let's try meeting again. I'm a little better. Let's go down to the comedy club. Let's try the comedy club. And I went down there and saw the support that I got from, I don't want to say everybody, but the certain group. Yeah. And I went, okay.
Probably the same people who gave it to me. Like, I didn't even know Sean.
Yep.
But
Sean.
like Lou. Lou's always been.
Lou will back you. Dude, I came out of the fucking club one night crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
And it was Sean Patton was there. I'll never forget. And I was still early in my sobriety. And I walked out to Bishop and I walked out to Lou and they go, what's wrong with you? And I go, all I wanted to do was come down here and see Sean. I love Sean. And I wanted to see him perform, but I just want to drink so bad. And and both of them just looked at, and Lou's a big dude. He goes, go home. And I go, but Lou, everybody's expecting that, and him and Bishop just stone face, go home.
Yep.
And I was like, can I? They go, Michael, go home. We'll cover for you. And I went, okay. And they just patted me on the back, just go.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. Phelps was great. Sean was great. Timmy was great. Amy was great with me. Zach Burke was great with me. There was a handful of dudes down there that would have bent over backwards for me. And that was a great crew. They helped me a lot.
Yeah, Lou has been. It's adorable too because Lou cares so much.
He does,
and it's been 7 years, but he's still like he'll ask me when I see him like, "How's sobriety doing?" Like a check-in.
Yeah, he does it with me too. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he'll look at me. He's like, still not.
Well, he
drinking?
always
Like,
uses you as an example.
Yeah,
like he'll just be like, I mean, Mike, I tell him whatever you need. I'm like, I know, man.
And he is a man of his word. I'll say that.
He has been like, I when I first got with the family and stuff, I had a thing that happened with money to where my account got overdrawn big time. And I had never had that before.
Yeah.
So I like messaged him. Yeah, and I was just like, how did that happen? And then this, and he told me, and I'm like, motherfucker. And then that's where I found out that my kid was purchasing OnlyFans accounts. And
any good ones?
Within like, I mean,
I'm kidding,
really.
Obviously.
That's where I wrote that joke about like, you know, him doing that, trying to find his dad's new girlfriend, and then not realizing that his dad would be the other one in the video. Like, it was a great bit.
Yeah.
But he sent me money like out of the blue, no question. Like it was like $125, $150. And I've been like, man, I need to pay you back. Like, nope.
No. Bishop, I'll never forget this because Bishop was not. I don't want to say intimidating, but he's quiet. He kind of keeps to himself. And if you don't really know Bishop, you don't know where you stand with him.
Right.
You know. And I didn't know where I stood with Bishop when I first met him because I was just getting sober, and I think that's when he was first starting to go down consistently.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll never forget, we were at Firebelly's one night, and I had a styrofoam cup full of water, and it was me. Chris Hargy was a big supporter as well.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
And even Marzanowski, like, even the guys that were still drinking, they'd have a beer right in front of me, and I go, I want one, and they would immediately, well, then get the fuck away from me. Like, they were, even that little stuff. And it was Colton, his sister, Hargy, me, and Bishop. And you remember the post that came down, and they had the little mini tables around it, okay? I had my drink there, and I came back in from a cigarette, and I went to go pick up my drink, and Bishop snatched it out of my hand and just puts his lips on my straw and just starts sucking. And I go, what are you doing? And he goes, I just wanted to make sure there was no vodka in it. And I go, okay. And I mean, this dude has never said more than like, hey, nice set, good night. And I'm like, I'll fucking kill for you, bro.
Yeah.
And to this day, because he stopped by where I work, and we talk. And say, hey, brother, how you been? And we talk like we didn't miss any time.
Yeah.
And I tell my boys that I see at work, the kids that I take care of at the after school program, I'm like, you want to know what a man is? That's a man right there.
Yeah.
I said, you guys want to know what friendship is? That's an example of friendship, you know?
I mean, what you said about like, you know it's not for you. You know the program's not for you. Like anybody can go and do the program if they're strong-willed enough. But it doesn't mean it's gonna work. You know, like I was more of, I went for like the 90 for 90, like 90 meetings in 90 days. I made a lot of good friends on it. I was doing NA because of the whole God thing and AA. And after a while, like I don't remember what happened, but I just realized it had been like 2 weeks and I hadn't thought about drinking. You know, and this is like, a year into it, I'm like, well, this is still baby. Like, I'm still a baby. And then one Sunday, like, I was chatting with this chick online. She was like, let's go get coffee. 5 years later, 6 years later, like, I've got a family with her. Like, and I think everybody's different. And that's what I always say. Like, everybody's different, and you got to do what works for you. Like, I know somebody who did heroin, but they haven't touched heroin in 5 years, but they'll drink every now and then and smoke weed.
I know people like that too.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's fine. But some people shun on it.
And I mean, I'm one of these, like, the one thing that did help was weed.
Yeah.
It helped.
Yeah.
It kept the cravings away. It helped me sleep. It helped my anxiety. It helped my depression. It helped me eat. And it's like, holy shit. So I started smoking more.
Yeah.
And that, I don't want to say that saved me or that it helped a little bit. I'm not saying to quit drinking, go smoke, but
right.
Whatever work, it's like at work, they want me to do things by the book. Hey, you got to do things by the book. That ain't the way it works in real life.
Yeah.
But you care about the kids, and you want the kids to have a great experience and learn. So I'll get you to that end result. But you take this road, I'm taking this road. We'll meet here.
Right.
So you guys do the meetings, you don't do the meeting. I did it, but we're all going to be sober and having fun with water.
Yeah.
So,
and I think a lot of people, and one thing that I kind of disagreed with, even then, like, and I'm not big on doing anything anymore. Like, like the kids, like, I mean, I did dabble like a year into it of like smoking and all that stuff. And then, like, after having kids, I'm like, no, I think like I was getting paranoid and thinking about, like, what if this baby comes out with something wrong? Like, just torturing myself. So I, like, dropped it all. Like, it wasn't that long. It was like 4 months, whatever. And then I was telling somebody that, and they're like, well, then you're not sober. Your sober date's when you stop doing that. I'm like, no, bullshit. Like, I didn't almost kill myself and kill other people blackout drunk. Like, I get where you're coming from.
Yep, I understand, but I don't fully agree, but we don't have to.
We will agree to disagree, and that's, fine.
And especially, I feel like that's kind of a tough thing to argue right now with it being legal in half the country. How bad is it for you? Like, shut up, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, it should be legal.
I'm going to tell you something. Me on weed is a hell of a lot better than me drinking.
Exactly.
Because I ain't going to kill you getting behind the wheel of the car stoned.
Right.
I might, but I ain't doing it because I don't drive like that anymore.
Right.
Because I get I'm like, once I hit that bowl once, I'm like, nope, not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's a home. It keeps you at home.
I'm not one of those dudes. I like when I used to work at CC's almost 20 years ago. I'm like, how do you guys get stoned and come here and eat? I get stoned and I just want to chill.
Yeah.
I don't want to go do things,
I was big on just zoning into a video game for like 8-9 hours.
I like getting stoned and painting.
Yeah.
Because then I get lost and I can focus.
Exactly.
Hey.
Yeah, it zones people in on things,
It also makes me think about things and appreciate things more. It really makes me slow down and appreciate things. Like looking outside at clouds.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about clouds? I do sometimes. Yeah. I think they're gorgeous. And you take that small appreciation of things. You're looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I also hate sobriety. Not sobriety, but I hated life. I hated reality.
Right.
Reality. So I wanted the escape. So it was alcohol. I know if I sit there and I'm not smoking a little bit of pot, I'm going to be doing a lot worse.
Yeah. No, I
completely understand. I've heard people call it like Canadian sober and this. It's like, look, bro, I ain't apologizing to you when I'm stoned. The only thing I'm saying I'm sorry for is eating all your Doritos.
Yeah. And it's, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people know that if they, and I think it's just a level of the disease. Because it's not like the disease affects everybody differently.
Yep.
And like I know somebody who was sober 9 years off of alcohol, didn't touch a damn thing, and decided on their 50th birthday to smoke a joint, and they were drinking within 2 hours. Like, some people can't.
It's not enough for them.
Yeah, it's not enough for them. And like me, I don't, like, it affects me in a way, like smoking weed just affects me in a way if I just get paranoid. I start thinking bad thoughts, and it takes me to a dark place. And, for one, I don't want my kids to ever know the drunk Billy, and they never will. But I also don't want to be in a mindset that I'm going to be focusing on so many dark things that I can't be positive around them, So, I mean, so now after 13 years of being sober? Like, do you ever have moments to where you have to put yourself in check, or do you have like anything like coping skills that you do for it? Like, have you like ever have still, like, after 13 years, because they say it's the 3, the 7, and the 10-year itch for it. Like, I just hit 7.
Yeah.
And I really haven't had an itch to drink. I've had an itch to be a dry drunk and want to yell at people and be frustrated and not be able to control those emotions. But, you know, I have my own coping skills for that.
You know, it's weird. I think in the big book and in meetings, my dad always used to tell me, he goes, it's cunning, patient, you know, alcohol or the disease, but it's like, it's always waiting. It's always waiting. Because I tell him, I go, I don't feel like drinking. He goes, not yet.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. And he go, Mike, don't get caught. And whether it was a year, 2, 5, or 10, he go, don't get cocky.
Yeah.
Because this is bigger than you are. And I go, okay. Not that I ever got cocky, but he just wanted to remind me.
Complacency.
You know? Yeah. I was just like,
enemy.
it's kind of, you know, and he goes, Mike, it's going to hit you when you don't expect it. You think you only want to drink after a bad day. Just wait. I had a bad day at work today. I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
But you know when I might want to drink? When I go home and I'm watching a TV show and my favorite main character is drinking and I'm like, oh, now I want to drink.
Right.
Or I'll just get a smell of something and I'm like, oh, I kind of want it. No.
Yeah.
You know, like I used to love drinking Guinness. My first Guinness was in a pure Irish bar. And
Nice.
right, poured by an Irish bartender. And I see a buddy of mine in Ireland the other day looking at a Guinness. And I'm like, man, that looks good. And I go, yeah, but you can't have that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
next one, I basically just liked it. Have one for me. Skip. You know, and because I was looking at it and I go, the more you look at it, the more you're going to start to taste it. The more you're going to start to feel it on your tongue.
Yep.
So I just went past it. I get the urge to go drink. I was sitting at a red light at a McDonald's shipyard in Carolina Beach, making a left. And I go, man, I can go for a drink right now. And it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. And I'm like, I go for a drink right now. And I go, nah, I can't go drink.
Only time it gets me is after yard work.
Yep.
Where you like want to just drink
Yard
a beer
beer,
out in the sun. Yeah, yard beers are fucking wonderful.
And this was one of those Tuesday, 4 o'clock, let's go do something. I want to go drink. And I go, Michael, you can't. And I go, wait a second. I'm a grown-ass man. I have American dollars. I know where every bar in this town is. I'm going to go get a drink. And I go, okay, I'll make a deal with you, Michael. And I talk to myself so much now. Yeah. And I go, I'll make a deal with you, Mike. And I go, okay. You can go get a drink when you can come up with one good thing that's going to come out of it. And I, dude, before the light even turned, I go, you're going home. You ain't going to a bar. Because in however long it's been, 7, 8, or 10 years, you haven't come up with one good reason to go get a drink.
No.
And that's why you're not.
But you can always think of the things that put you in the position to not drink.
I think about the apologies. I think about the venom tongue that I had with people.
Yep.
The lack of patience. The I'm just spending money like I'm rich and this and that. And I remember you were talking to, was it not Becca? Was it the episode 2?
Episode 1, the one you saw?
The one I watched.
Yeah, Becca.
So it was, I got to check, is my car outside? Where are my keys? Dude, first thing I used to do is, where's my car? I used to be so mad if I saw my car. Most people are like, good, I don't have to go look for it. I'm like, son of a bitch. I drove home last night. Oh boy.
It was the scariest
and
thing.
I knew, and I'm like, oh shit. If I saw my car out there, I was like, oh no, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I would wake up scared. I'm like, oh, I'm going to owe somebody an apology. I did something wrong last night. I knew it. And then now it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, dude. I woke up out of fear and that hangover. And now I'm hungover sitting here going, who do I owe an apology to? How much money did I spend? Where's my wallet? Where's my keys? Did I leave my door unlocked last night?
Let's check the phone.
Let's check the phone. I would lose my debit card so often. I would have to go through my shirts and just check and see if it was in the pocket. I would leave it at the bar. I would get phone calls from bartenders in Chicago going, you left your card here last night.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
You know? So
I used to leave
I think about those times and I go, I can't
every
do this.
Thursday night. And I used to have to go down there and my car was always home in the morning. You know what's really, I think, like me and my wife have been having talks. Like she's I can't say enough nice things about her. Like she's an angel. Like
you are so happy with her, dude. I've seen it on the Instagram posts.
Like, dude, this is
genuinely happy.
I never thought that in my life of boozing and drugging and being a complete piece of shit that I would ever end up to where, like, I own a house. I have this amazing woman who just thinks I'm the goddamn cat's meow. Kids. Holy shit. I never thought. I had a doctor tell me in 2010, you have killed every piece of semen making machinery in your body. You're never going to have a kid. And then, boy, I just feel like taking Tilly up there and holding her like a cat by the back of the neck.
You don't know shit. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but
Revoke
I think it
that
was
license.
like, I'm not a religious person, but it was definitely some energy in the world that was like, kill every piece of semen in that boy until he gets his life straight. You know, like, yeah, I am. I'm the happy. Like, I don't have stress. I don't have regret. I don't have like guilt. You know, the only guilt I have is like, oh, I shouldn't have said this way to my stepson.
I should have worded it differently.
Yeah, I should have worded it.
I should have waited a second to respond. That's my kind of shit.
Yeah, like or I should have said this. Like me and Robin, like I was talking about it last week. Like me and her have never raised our voices at each other in 6 years. We just talk. Like we don't, you know, and it's like she understands me, and it's rad as hell. The main thing is like I'd still find that old, like you were saying, like the silver tongue you would have with people, the sharp tongue. Like I still have that.
Yeah.
And luckily it's never been directed at my family members. It has been directed at like customers that I speak to at work, or like the conversation we was having earlier. Like I completely let those people have it. Like, but I felt it was justified. So I digress. You were just saying the things of who do I have to apologize. Did you feel like you had to make amends to anybody after you'd had some sober time?
You know, like the Step 9 kind of thing?
Yeah.
Certain people, yeah. Certain people, I felt like I was like, I'm going to apologize to them. You know, like I was dating a girl at the time. This was the sorry that I remember. Because I feel like in retrospect, I didn't mean it, you know, years later now. And I was dating a girl. I think we had started, it was a girl that I was on and off with for a while, a couple of years. The girl that was, her name was Lucia, and she had a daughter. And we were dating for about 3 years, and in the last couple months, it was like on and off. Well, we had gotten back together, and she tells me we're pregnant. She's pregnant. We're pregnant. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm getting sober at the same time. And I'm like, well, this is perfect timing because I'm getting sober. We had planned on having a family. She gets pregnant. So now this is perfect, Michael. This is, you're going to become the man that you were, this is why you quit. I said there, I'm going to quit for the son that I want to have.
Right.
And maybe I'm going to have that son. So let's be sober. So I'm going through hell for months. And long story short, she lied about being pregnant and had me dangled for 6-7 months. And I was so angry at her. I said some things to her that she was like, please don't say these words to me. And I said them, and I felt good about it. And the next day I didn't. And I realized that wasn't when I was drinking, but I realized that the words that came out at that time were just kind of a metaphor for the 3 years of me drinking with her.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I said, I owe her an apology. I was angry that she lied to me and I found out, and I just took it out, and I shouldn't have said those things. So I gave it some time, and I went and I found her at work. I went in and I said, hey, I come in peace. I'm sober. I wanted to let you know that I'm not mad at you anymore. You know, and I'm letting you off the hook for lying to me about that. And it's all good. I don't hate you. I just want to move on. It is what it is, kind of. She was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I left, and I felt good about it.
Yeah.
But now here I am, you know, 13 years later, and I was like, you know, fuck her. That was the wrong thing to do. I feel better because I said I was sorry.
Was it more that you because I think if I know you, which we've known each other.
Yeah, we can be honest,
time.
man. I know who I am.
Like, I think it was like, because I feel in that situation would have gone and said that thing, but then later down realized that, like, I never said I'm sorry for saying those things to you. I said that I apologize for being mad at you.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I knew in retrospect, I was like, I didn't I was saying it to relieve myself of something, but I didn't mean the apology.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know?
In that situation, yeah.
But I realized now, I was like, I didn't really mean that. That hurt. That still fucks with me.
Yeah, that still would fuck with you.
That still fucks with me, man. Like, there's certain songs, like, you ever hear that song, I forget, by Highly Suspect called 16?
No.
It's about a guy, it's a great song, but he's talking about finding out his girlfriend's pregnant. He goes in, and it's a white couple, and he goes, that's when I find out it's a black baby. And that song always makes me think about her lying, you know, and it just brings me back to it. And I hear that song sometimes, and sometimes I sing it, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I need to get this out.
Right.
Because it reminds me of, like, what if I had that baby? You know, like, who knows? Like, but she lied to me. She played with my emotions during one of the lowest points of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's definitely, that's a narcissistic evil, and I'm glad you got that out of your life.
Yep, me too.
And I'm not upset at you for saying any. I would have probably gone way further. Like, I mean, I would never, like, I was never a violent drunk.
No, me neither. Never physical, but verbal, I was bad.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
And he knew. He knew we were recording.
Was that the guy that was doing it earlier?
Well, he lives right there, but then now his brother's over there cutting things down. But it was fucking asshole.
And you know what's great? It's like fucking the God that we don't believe in testing us right now. Let's see if you guys aren't going to get angry.
Yeah, you saying you're not going to get angry.
We're going to have the neighbor weed whacking.
Yeah.
I love you, brother.
Put out 3 more neighbors.
Yeah.
Make them do chainsaws and everything.
Bring out the choir, dude. Get them singing. You know?
Let's see. Let's really test you guys now.
I don't have that short temper anymore, though. You know?
I have a temper, but it's for, like, social justice.
Oh, equality and justice. Me too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with, like, really, like, any racial thing.
No, it's just in general, all over. In general. Yeah.
Like I'm watching some younger person, like, put a cart behind an old lady's car at the grocery store when she's getting in her car to leave, and they just push it in front behind her car and walk away.
I'll walk over and say, nope.
Oh, no. I have gone, like, I've thrown a grocery cart in the back of somebody's truck. I went over, they had a Jeep, and I went over and I had like a bungee tie in my trunk, and I was like putting my groceries away, and it was like they just pushed it in between. It wasn't even like some old lady. They just didn't put it back, and it pissed me off. So I took it over to their Jeep, and I wrapped it around their bumper, put it on the thing, and then just walked away. And they got halfway out, and then down the lane, and like, who did this? Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I got really big into just like equality and justice, and whether it's a kid, like, I didn't get a cookie. Here's a fucking cookie, man. Here, take a cookie. I don't care. If you want a cookie and he got a cookie, I'll give you a cookie. I don't care what it is. I went into a gas station one day, a couple of years ago. And as I was walking in, there's a cute girl walking in. So I was flirting with her, naturally.
Right.
I walk in, and behind the counter, I see a girl smiling, being very patient, and there's 8 people in line. It's the 41st Street, Andy Hugo's.
Okay.
Right, busy.
Yeah.
And there's this little white girl up front parked like this, just screaming at her. And I'm like, what's this piece of white trash doing up here yelling at that fucking girl? Right? And I'm trying to flirt with the girl, and I'm like, what's going on up there? And everybody that walks up, the white girl is screaming. The black girl behind the counter is like, yeah, thank you, have a great day. Thank you, have a great day. Hi, how are you today? I tell the girl, I go, if I get up there, she's still hollering, I'm going to say something. And I get up, she's cursing this girl out, and she goes, this girl, shut the fuck up. We're all tired of hearing about you. And she goes, excuse me? And I said, no, excuse you or whatever. I said, you're sitting here yelling at her and you're being rude for absolutely no reason. And she goes, she was being mean to me. And I go, I'd be mean to you too if you were talking to me that way. I've watched her be nice to everybody that came up here. And she's being mean to you? Sounds like it's you and not her. And then she goes, well, I came in here yesterday and she was mean too. I go, she was mean to you 2 days in a row and nice to everybody else? I think you're starting to see it's you.
Doubling down on my point here.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I get my shit. I start to walk out. The girl behind me that I was flirting with, she's not done. She starts saying something. Now she walks out. Now her and I are talking. I go, I'm sorry, I got a little crazy in there. She goes, no, I did the same thing after you left. I don't like that. And I go, me neither. Then here comes another, like some old white dude getting a case of beer. He goes, somebody might want to call the police. It's getting bad in there. So I go, huh? So the girl goes back in. I go back in. The chick behind the counter, the tall black girl, comes walking out with the girl's cell phone and purse, puts it on the curb. The girl runs out after her. the black girl comes back in who works there, and then all of a sudden the white girl tried to get in, and I just held the doors closed, and I was like, "You're gonna meet the police. They're right there." And then so I leave, right, and I go back in that gas station 2 days later, and I see the manager, and I said, "Hey," and I think her name was like Latoya or something. It started with an L. And I go, "Latoya the other day was so nice. She was patient with this," and she goes, "I know. I was on the phone with her when it happened." And I go, "Okay." She goes, "Were you the guy yelling?" And I go, "Yep." Right? So I come in 2 days later, and the manager's there, so is Latoya. And I go, "Hey, ladies." And I had my black hat, my newsboy hat.
Yeah.
So they recognize me. And I go, "Hey, ladies." And Latoya goes, "That's him." And I go, "Excuse me?" And they go, "Oh, we have the camera video of you yelling at that lady the other night." And I go, "Do you guys have audio?" And they went, "Yep." And they thought it was hilarious. I was like, "Okay." But you're not going to bully people on my watch. You're not going to treat people bad.
That's what teased me off. There's 3 things that'll set me off old school Billy dry drunk. And that's hearing my kids disrespect their mother. Hearing anybody like disrespecting somebody staff. Server staff too, but just anybody for not needing it. Like having that Karen Ken
mentality, just because they want to.
Just because they want to.
Bullshit.
Entitledness. Like,
you want to yell at somebody, come yell at me.
Yeah. And then 3 is anytime I hear somebody like yelling or disrespecting a child, whether it's their child or not. Like I can't.
I'm 42 with arthritis and autoimmune disease, but I'll fight you till you're dead. And if you're being disrespectful to a kid,
yeah, like and that's where like I get set off with it. But I think what I've realized, and I think that you're starting to say this too, is 7 years later, it's a lot easier to not jump the gun and acknowledge the reality of the situation.
I feel like, tell me if you agree, I feel like when we were drinking, it was a defensive, but we were always on the defensive. Like I know in my sharp tongue, it was like, you said one thing, I was ready to go after you.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I lacked the confidence like in myself, physically, and then also mentally, like, because I always had to be ready. Like, you're going to say, I'm going to be ready for you. I'm going to be ready. And I got bullied a lot growing up, so maybe that's it. But I feel like what we're both saying now is like, we're just so confident in what we can do. It's like, I don't have to prove it to you. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to be a rocket all the time. And that's what I felt like when I was drinking. I have to prove to this guy that I can handle it. And I'm not afraid. I don't have to do that anymore. I can just be that rocket chilling. And just like you said, like, I'm just going to wait here and watch. And then if I can tell that he's just not related to her and being a dick, the boosters are going to come off.
Yeah.
And I'm like that now too. I'm more patient. I take in the situation. I want to get more information. Before, I would have just gone around yelling. I know I can yell at you and bring you down and make you feel. It's like, not everybody needs to feel that way, man.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, like with your wife. Like, how do you know what's going on? You got to get more information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be patient. Wait.
And my kids have taught me a lot about that too.
Kids would teach me something new every day at work, man.
My daughter is, and I'm sure you'll see her on your way out. Like, she is a spitting image of her dad when it comes to being feisty, when it comes to, I mean, just being hilarious. Like, she is way funnier than I'll ever be, and she's 4. And also, she's got dad's sneakiness. Like, that little girl will steal everything out of like my office or whatever, hide it up under her bed. Dude, I found like loaves of bread under her bed. Like, what was it the other night? She went and got milk out of the fridge. She poured salt in it and then brought it to me. She goes, "Daddy, I don't think this milk is very good." She's 4, dude. She's like this big. I don't think this milk is very good. I'm like, "It looks like milk to me." And she goes, "Taste it." And then she ran and didn't realize she was running. It had more salt and milk in it.
Oh, God.
And it was so nasty. And I was like, "Did you really just pour a glass of milk?" I went total broke white dad on her.
Yeah.
Like, "Did you just waste a glass of milk for a prank?" And she goes, "I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "You just poured salt in the milk." She goes, "I didn't do that."
Yep.
I'm like, "Well, who did it? Who else is going to pour salt in a glass of milk that you had in your hand?"
Yeah.
"I don't know, Dad." Like,
she was really trying to get out of that.
She sticks in it, and she'll never admit it.
She committed to that and was not getting out of it.
She commits to all of them.
Good for her, man.
All of them.
Good for her.
No, I'm like, Robin, she needs to quit lying. And now my wife is a Montessori toddler teacher.
Okay.
So she knows the brain development of children, and She was like, oh, this is actually really good brain development for her right now. I'm like, what? Being a fucking liar is like, I don't want her to get in that habit, you know? But
not that, I think the milk, the joke, the salt.
Oh, it was genius.
All of it. And when I first started the job with the kids, I would get mad, right?
Yeah.
Or they would start going crazy because one of them made a 3-pointer. And I'm like, and I teach third graders.
Oh, okay.
I work with third graders. And I'm sitting there like, y'all are killing me right now. Why are you screaming over a 3-pointer? And I'm in my head, Billy, I'm going, you're going to hit 1 million of those. You guys are going to do so much more in your life that's more exciting than, and I go, Michael, they don't know that.
They don't know that. They just hit a 3.
They're living their moment, man.
Yeah.
And that's showing me to live in the moment. And I'm so much happier. And I'm learning from them all the time. And in the past, I would have gotten so mad if my kid did that. Like, you just wasted milk and salt. And you tried to get one over, and I would have been so pissed. I would have been like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, hey, I did that same shit.
Yeah.
Would I want my dad screaming at me? You know? And it's like,
you do seem, and I noticed this, I mean, my wife's got that hippie, witchy energy to her, and I think it's rubbing off. But like the last time I saw you, I think was at the comedy club.
Probably Dead Crow, yeah.
And it was the basement. It was the old,
like Nut Street.
Yeah, it was the old, the first
like
Dead
Crow. Outback.
Yeah, like it had Outback and all that. Like I remember seeing you there, and you were in and out, but we talked for a few minutes, and you looked pretty stressed.
Yeah.
And then today, when you got out of the car, like I was just like, dude, this guy's energy is so positive right now. And then when you told me you were working with kids, I'm like, that's where it's coming from.
Yep. They've noticed it at work too. And they're like, are you on more energy drinks than normal? And it's a lot of it's change of. I've been doing therapy for a couple of years now, which is tremendous, but it's also just like, it's a change of thought process. Like I'm now realizing, like you were saying earlier, like I'm not doing enough. Well, yeah, you are, man. You're raising 2 kids. You're a family, like that. We always think we need to save the world, like planetary. Yeah. Like it ain't going to happen, man. You're not going to do that. And I think about it. And I was thinking about it this week because I was thinking about what we were going to talk about. As comedians, when we first started out, we have that altruistic, we want to make everybody happy and take them away from their stress and their problems. I wanted to save the world. I'm sure you wanted to save the world.
Oh, yeah.
You know how dumb that is?
It's the dumbest.
It's fucking stupid, man.
It's egotistical.
I've only been to like 3 states. I've never even been to the other side of the world. How am I going to save? I don't even live in this world.
Yeah.
I live on the planet, but my world is right here. So I started, and I called my dad one day, and I said, Dad, I need to talk to you. You're a smart man. You have a big heart. You've been sober. How do you watch? And I think it was when Trump was president. I said, how do you watch what's going on, not just now, but just your whole life? And what the ugliness and the racism and the bigotry and the poverty and this and that outside in this world. And it's so hard and we can make it so much easier. How do you deal with that and not want to go crazy? And he started to giggle. He goes, Michael, that's easy. And I go, I don't want to hear that right now. And he goes, I focus on the world around me. He goes, my world is my wife, my children, my friends, my grandkids. I take care of them. When I know that they're taken care of and I give them my best, I also know that they're going to give the people in their lives the best.
Dude.
And I go, oh, stop, Dad. So I stopped trying to save the world. I stopped trying to save parts of China and parts of South Dakota I ain't never going to see.
Yeah.
But I might see your kids at the store today. I might see my nephew. I might see, I'm going to help you. So every day with those kids, I teach them something. Every single day, no matter what it is. And they're teaching me something every day, whether they know it or not. Whether it's the same thing they taught me yesterday and they're just rehashing it,
Yeah.
I don't care. I need to maybe learn 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 weeks in a row. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the moment, enjoy the moment. Just like they need to know. You always tell the truth. You always tell the truth.
Always tell the truth.
And I tell those, and you know what's helped, and I know you know it watching your kids, I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing them listen, and I'm seeing that, oh my God, the advice that I'm giving them, they see that it works, and I am right. And I'm watching boys, I tell them things, and I'll go, hey, you just hit him? And he'll go, uh-uh. And I go, buddy, did you hit him? Uh-uh. And I go, man, look, I'm sure, I know you're lying to me right now, so we're just going to cut it. I know you're used to getting yelled at when you tell the truth, right? And he goes, I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. I ain't going to yell at you if you tell the truth. but I'm going to yell at you if you lie to me. So I need you to tell me the truth.
All the time.
Do you tell me the truth? I will not lie to you, or I will not yell at you, I promise. Did you hit him? He went, yeah. And I go, why? He goes, because I said, buddy, that's not how we handle things. You got to come get Mr. Mike. I wear a blue shirt. I'm twice your size. I wear a staff badge, and I get paid to do this.
Yeah.
You hit him back, you get in trouble. Anything else that happens after you come tell me is on me.
Right.
So I'm teaching, and I see these kids, Mr. Mike. Okay, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I see kids helping other kids. I see kids picking up other kids' jackets. I see a kid, and I mean kids from opposite side. I got kids from downtown, like Houston Moore area, and kids with Holly Tree. That's two different worlds.
Yeah.
All right? That's two different worlds.
It is.
Do you know how fucking beautiful it is to see those two worlds come together and play a video game?
Because those kids really, I mean, in third grade, they don't
know any of it.
They know what they hear.
Yeah.
But they're not walking up and go, wait, hold on, where are you from?
Yeah.
Before I play with you.
I watch that and I sit and go, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I never would have appreciated those things. That's why I'm happy. Like, I was thinking about it driving in here. I was driving by. It's a nice neighborhood back here, by the way.
Appreciate it.
And I love when you come through here, there's like that little island in the front on the right-hand side with like a bench and a little library, a little free library. Back in the day, I would have driven by that in my drinking days, like, fucking library, who reads?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm driving through here and I'm like, this is a great neighborhood, man. I really appreciate these neighbors to do something. And it's like, you realize the sun's always out. You're just not looking hard enough for it.
Yeah.
You know, one day a couple weeks ago, a little 5-year-old kid, we're sitting in one of the rooms with nothing but windows overlooking the pool, and it's pouring rain out. We can't go outside, man. We're stuck in one of the most boring rooms there. And all of a sudden it stops raining, and Josiah looks out, and he's all excited. He goes, look, it stopped raining. And I'm like, he's so excited just because it stopped raining. He goes, you know what that means, Mr. Mike? A rainbow. I haven't looked at a rainbow the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
He got so excited for a rainbow. And here I am at 42 and I go, I need to be excited over the, it's like with when you watch porn. In the beginning, it's like missionaries like, whoa. Now, if like 3 donkeys and a clown aren't fucking a lady with a bag of Fritos, it's like, I don't know what to start. You know, so it's like everything goes up and up and up. So you think at like 20, it's like, dude, I had a threesome with 2 strippers tonight. At 42, I'm going to have to do 8 grams of coconut. No, you don't. No, you don't.
No.
You're trying too hard, man. I look at sunsets and go, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the odds of us being born are like 1 in 4 trillion or 400 billion or something. And then the fact that I was in my mom's stomach with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck 3 times and I wasn't going to survive. The way I was doing drugs and drinking in my teens and college years, I was like, I'm going to be dead by 25. And there I am quitting drinking at 27. And I'm like,
yeah.
You got to say, I always said there's kind of, I felt like there's 2 types of like recovering addicts. It's like the ones that are like, well, we're going to see. You know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, I'm not fucking up. I got a second chance at life. I'm not going to fuck this up. I can't.
Yeah.
You know? And I look at it like, I can't. Like, oh, man, I really want to. But I don't ever want to go through this again. I made it, you know, I've got to go through that. I love the fucking trees. I love the clouds. I love laughter.
I think a big thing for me is it took so much for me to admit that I needed help, you know, to go to rehab and to deal with what people would think, you know, because as somebody who has been a performer, when you're a performer, what people think really doesn't matter about you, but it really does matter to you. You know,
we like to say it doesn't.
We
but
like
it
to
does.
say it
does.
doesn't, but that's what it is. That's your, it's not culture, but that's your reputation. You know, and it finally, like, I had to like get over that and be like, I need help. I can't stop. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I did it, and I'm glad I did it. And you know, I used to think about like if I lose a parent, that's going to be the one thing to trigger me out, you know. And when Mom got sick, and then my dad was in the hospital like a couple months ago, not even a couple months, like last month, where they were like, I don't know, you know, like it really made me realize that. And I thought about it, I'm like, man, this could, and I thought, I'm like, why would I think that now? That's not the case. Like, I don't want to have to go through detox again. I don't want to go through what, you know, for one, like my wife would leave with the children like that. You know, I don't want my kids to have 2 Christmases. Like, I don't want to have to go through all that shame and guilt again. Like, it took me 5 years to get to where I could look myself in the mirror and have no negative feelings whatsoever. I would never want to go through the process of getting sober again.
No, me neither.
Like, now,
if I go back out, I'm staying out. I haven't one. I'm going out.
Do you feel like when times get really tough and you may or may not want, do you feel like when you think about the pride your dad had for you stopping drinking, that keeps you sober?
Even when he was alive, we both told each other, "You're keeping me sober, I'm keeping you." And it's like, no, we're not. We're helping each other,
Right?
You know. But he goes, "Mike, I don't want to go out because I'd have to tell you, and I would tell you." And I go, "I know, and I would tell you, and I don't want to." So we would just kind of, we weren't each other's sponsors, but we were each other's like
support system.
And he'd call me and go, "Bud, lost a lot of money playing cards today, and I'm just not having a good one. I kind of want to drink." And I'm like, "Yeah, it ain't going to change anything, though, right?" He goes, "No, I know, but I just needed to call." And we would talk it out.
That's amazing.
You know, and I knew, and he and I had this talk a lot when he was still alive. He go, "Mike," he goes, "if you go out, you know, I'm not going to be mad at you. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, you go back." I go, "I know." He goes, "But I need you to tell me." And I go, "I would. I couldn't live with that not, you know, in my integrity." And now, after he died, the amount of people that told me, like face to face, like, "Michael, your dad you have no idea how proud your father was of you being sober." Like when I called, or my uncle called, my dad's brother, and he was on the phone with my stepmom, and he goes, "Can I talk to Michael real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me talk to." And he goes, "Hey, bud, how you doing?" I go, "Good. You know, I'm doing all right. How you doing?" And he goes, "Good." He goes, "Buddy, I just got to tell you, your father's so proud of you for getting sober." And it was one of those things where I'm like, "That's what you wanted? That's what you wanted to tell me? Like, your brother's dead, and you're trying to tell me?" Like, that meant so much to me.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm never going out.
Yeah, too, man. I don't
want to.
want
and not
to.
just because of my dad, and not because of
it's
the deep, but honestly,
it's accomplishment.
I just don't want to.
Well,
I don't have that feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
like I don't have it. Like I don't want. Like every now and then, like there's some things like Halloween.
Yeah. 4th of July.
4th of July. When Carolina, when the Tar Heels are like in the Final Four and all that, the tradition every year when we make it to the Final Four is I would get one big bottle of scotch and I would sip it. No, beginning of March all the way through, and I wouldn't finish it until Carolina got put out.
Until they were done, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and then I would kill the rest of the bottle. Like things like little traditions.
And yep.
I miss that, but I can also do that with other things.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't have to involve alcohol.
I had to change it up. I was watching Californication a lot.
Yeah.
When I was drinking, and I couldn't watch that for a while afterwards because of the drugs and alcohol. And I love the show, and I love Duchovny, but I'd sit there, and that's when I wanted to drink.
Yeah.
Because I'd just be sitting there watching it, and he'd be pouring. I'm like, and I'm like, we're going to skip this episode and find out in a week, you know? So,
yeah.
It always hit me at weird times, too, you know?
And I think the main thing is you've got 13 years. Like, you've always been one of the most kindest, nicest, respectful people that I've ever known.
That means a lot, man. Thanks.
I mean,
even saying that when I was drinking, yeah.
You've always been like high up there on my respect meter, you know? And when I got sober, like it was kind of a thing where like Lou would tell me about you. And then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And I think I remember talking to you one night, like early sobriety.
Yeah, because you had asked me about it, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude." Yeah.
And it was like one of those things.
We didn't really know. We had talked. We knew each other, but we didn't know each other.
Yeah, like we knew each other.
Yep.
We were cool with each other.
Yep.
We enjoyed seeing each other, but we weren't like we didn't know everything about. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like one of those things of like proud that you were sober, and I knew you, and then. Learning, you always know about somebody on how other people talk about them.
Yeah, yep.
Like I've never heard a soul say a bad thing about you.
Really?
And that's legit.
That's surprising.
Considering that those people usually have said bad things about everybody.
And I know who I am. I know I'm a good dude, but I also know I'm not a good dude sometimes. Yeah, I'm surprised. But that makes me feel good, yeah.
Right there. We made my day.
Yeah? Made my day, brother.